Before we begin, take 1 second. If you believe kindness always finds its way back home, like this story and subscribe, because what you're about to hear will stay with you long after the video ends. Marcus Hale never expected a miracle for Christmas. Miracles were for people who had time to believe in them. He was a single father with overdue bills stacked on the kitchen counter and a 6-year-old daughter who deserved more than he could give. On Christmas Eve, the snow came down hard over Chicago, swallowing the city in white silence. Marcus had just finished his late shift at a warehouse. His hands were cracked from cold, his back aching, but he still stopped by a small convenience store to buy a cheap stuffed bear for his daughter, Lily. It wasn't much, but Lily never complained. She had her mother's eyes and her father's stubborn gratitude. That's when he saw her. A young woman sat on the sidewalk outside the store, shivering in a thin coat, her dark hair damp with melting snow. People passed her. Some glanced. Most didn't. Marcus hesitated. He had $23 left in his account. His gas tank was nearly empty. But something in the woman's eyes wasn't just fear, it was shock, like her world had shattered hours earlier and she hadn't yet figured out how to stand. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She tried to smile. "I'm fine. Just waiting." "For who?" She looked away. "I don't know anymore." He could have walked away. He should have. But Lily's voice echoed in his mind. "Daddy, Grandma says angels look like regular people." Marcus sighed and crouched beside her. "Look, it's freezing. I don't have much, but I've got a warm car and some leftover soup at home. You're welcome to sit somewhere warm until you figure things out. Trust is hard when you've lost everything." Yet she nodded. Her name was Elena. On the drive, she barely spoke. Marcus didn't push. Lily greeted them at the door with excited chatter, showing off paper snowflakes taped crookedly to the walls. Elena watched the little girl with something close to awe. They ate soup together. Lily insisted Elena take the bigger blanket. Marcus slept on the couch. It wasn't until morning that things turned strange. Marcus woke up, but not on his couch. He opened his eyes to towering ceilings, sunlight pouring through enormous windows, and silk sheets under his hands. His heart pounded. He shot upright. This wasn't his apartment. This was a mansion. Before panic could fully set in, the bedroom door opened. And there she was, Elena, except she wasn't wearing the worn coat from last night. She stood poised, confident, dressed in tailored elegance. Her expression carried strength, not vulnerability. "Good morning, Marcus," she said softly. He stumbled out of bed. "Where am I? Where's Lily?" "She's safe," Elena assured him quickly. "She's downstairs having breakfast." Marcus's fists clenched. "What is this?" Elena inhaled deeply, as if steadying herself for truth. "My full name is Elena Vasquez." The name hit him like a freight train. Vasquez Industries, the global tech corporation that had just bought the warehouse he worked at. The same corporation that announced massive layoffs before Christmas. "You're the CEO," he whispered. She nodded. Marcus's stomach twisted. "This some kind of joke?" "No." Her voice trembled slightly now. "Last night, I wasn't Elena Vasquez, CEO. I was a woman who had just walked out of her own holiday gala after overhearing board members planning to push out half our warehouse staff to inflate year-end profits. Including your location." The air left Marcus's lungs. "I needed to see," she continued. "I needed to know what those decisions actually meant. So I left. No driver, no security. I walked. And somewhere, between anger and heartbreak, I realized I had no idea who my company was hurting." Marcus stared at her, memories of the freezing sidewalk flooding back. "You could have gone anywhere," she said. "Instead, you brought a stranger home when you barely had enough yourself." He shook his head. "I didn't know who you were." "That's exactly the point." Downstairs, Lily's laughter echoed through the mansion halls. Marcus rushed down and found her sitting at a long dining table, eyes wide at the chandelier above. "Daddy, look, it's like a princess castle." Marcus knelt and hugged her tightly. Elena approached more slowly now. "Marcus, I didn't bring you here to intimidate you. I brought you here because I need help." He almost laughed. "You're worth billions, and yet I don't know how to lead with heart," she replied. Over breakfast, Elena explained everything. The board wanted cuts, quick profit. Investors were pressuring her. If she refused, they could vote to remove her as CEO. Marcus leaned back, anger simmering. "So were numbers to them." "Yes," she whispered. "But you aren't to me anymore." He stood. "Then fight them." "It's not that simple." Marcus thought about Lily, about Christmases scraping coins together, about nights worrying if he'd lose his job. "You asked for help," he said finally. You want to know what those layoffs mean? Come to the warehouse. Meet the families. Listen. And she did. Over the next week, Elena stepped into spaces she had only seen on spreadsheets. She saw calloused hands, heard stories of parents working double shifts, watched children waiting in cars after school because daycare cost too much. The board wasn't happy. Headlines began circulating. CEO goes rogue. Emotional decisions risk shareholder value. Investors threatened to pull funding. One evening, Elena sat in the mansion's study, exhausted. Maybe they're right, she said quietly. Maybe I'm not built for this. Marcus shook his head. You showed up. That already makes you different. I could lose everything, and they could lose their homes, he replied. The board meeting arrived like a storm. Elena stood at the head of a long glass table while directors questioned her leadership. Instead of defending herself with numbers, she played a video. Footage of warehouse workers, their stories, their kids, their dreams. Then she spoke. We can cut jobs and see a temporary spike in stock value, she said steadily. Or we can invest in automation training programs, reskill our workers, and build loyalty that outlasts any quarter. Profit doesn't have to come from pain. There was silence. Some scoffed, but others listened. The vote was close, painfully close, and in the end, Elena remained CEO, with conditions. She had 1 year to prove her people-first strategy would outperform projections. When she walked out of that building, Marcus was waiting with Lily. Well, he asked. She smiled through tears. We work harder now. The next year wasn't easy. Elena and Marcus collaborated on employee initiatives. Marcus became a liaison between management and workers. Training programs launched. Productivity improved. Turnover dropped. Slowly, profits followed. But more importantly, dignity returned to the workplace. On the next Christmas Eve, snow fell again. Marcus stood in his modest new home, one he could now comfortably afford, watching Lily hang ornaments. Elena knocked on the door. Not as a CEO. As a friend. You didn't have to bring anything, Marcus said as she stepped inside with gifts. She smiled. I know. I wanted to. Later that night, after Lily fell asleep, they stood outside under the falling snow. You saved me that night, Elena said quietly. He looked at her. You changed my life. She shook her head. No, you reminded me who I wanted to be. Marcus realized something then. The mansion had never been the miracle. The miracle was being seen. A single act of kindness on a freezing sidewalk had reshaped 2 lives, and thousands more. So if you ever wonder whether small choices matter, they do. The hand you extend today could open doors you never imagined tomorrow. If this story moved you, don't forget to like and subscribe, because sometimes the greatest gifts aren't found under the tree, they're found in the courage to care.